Hi guys, how's it going? I hope everyone is doing well, day or night, whenever you tune in and see this. I'm doing this a little bit after midnight here, feeling the full moon vibes, right? The full moon in Taurus in your sign, right, is coming up today, depending on where you are in the world, different times. And it also is a lunar eclipse. It's a lunar eclipse that hasn't happened since the year 1440. So, pretty big vibes going on here. But you have a good reading. There's lots of change in your reading as a foreshadowing element. You do have 6 major arcanas here in your reading, which represents a lot of change. So some exciting things here. Real quickly before we get started, this is a general reading, right? So it can cover anything like love, work, friends, family, health, money, etc. All right, so always take it how it resonates. And also, of course, even if you're not a Sun Taurus or Rising Taurus or Moon Taurus, or even if you're not watching for matters of love, of Venus and Taurus, this reading may resonate for you as well, as we all have all 12 zodiac signs throughout our individual birth charts. So depending on what's going on in your life, you may resonate more with your moon sign or your rising sign or your sun sign, okay? So that's why I always encourage everyone, if you haven't already, to get a free birth chart and find out your other placements, just in case this isn't your particular reading and you want to get a full picture of what's going on for you. All right, so speaking of a full picture, right? I do take one photo at the end of all of the cards in case you want to see it later if you're not watching the live. So if you want to check that out, all you have to do is click in the description box below and follow the instructions there on how to see it on my Facebook page. All right, so we're going to get into your reading here, Taurus. We're going to start with the main 6 cards in the center and then work outwards into your tarot confirmation cards that I use with another deck. And then we also talk about, sorry, let me turn that down, what's on the top and the bottom of each deck to get even more information. And then at the very end, we have a couple oracle cards here for you. All right, so let's get into it, Taurus. I just have a little music that I put on in the background for the dogs, but it's on a commercial. Okay. So let's go ahead and call out your cards here in the center, and then we'll go in order. All right, Taurus. So you have the Queen of Sacred Circles in the reverse position, also known as Queen of Pentacles in the reverse position. You have the Three of Staves, also known as the Three of Wands, right side up. You have the tarot. Yes, this is the tarot. You have the Tower in the reverse position here, and it is one of your repeating cards. We will get into that later and what that means. And then as your 4th card, you have the Prince of Sacred Circles in the right side up position, also known as the Prince of Pentacles, right side up. You have the Emperor in the reverse position and the Prince of Cups in the right side up position. So yes, let me just set my timer here and we'll get into it. And hopefully you can see the table a little bit better. Here we go. Okay. Hopefully you can see some of the cards here. And I will hold them up and stuff like I always do. All right, so Taurus, yes, lots of energy here for you. We're going to start with your first card here, the Queen of Sacred Circles in the reverse position. I also wanted to say that this first row in the main center here that we're starting with can be energy starting around November 9th, but it's not exact. It can be a little bit before, a little bit after, going through the rest of last week and last weekend. And then this second row is where we are in this week here, since we're more towards the end of the weekend, till about November 23rd or so. Okay, again, not exact. So when we talk about this energy here, this could be energy from the recent past that's still lingering around. And then you ask yourself, okay, so what is the recent past? It could be a couple of weeks ago, it could be a couple of months, okay, a couple of days, years, etc. Always take it how it resonates for you, right? But here's your first card here, Taurus, the Queen of Sacred Circles in the reverse position. So this energy is about feeling a lack of nurturing energy around you, maybe a lack of abundance or a little bit of stagnant energy. Okay, it is a little bit of a blockage, but you do have some really good cards here, so I wouldn't freak out too much, right? And hopefully, whenever you are watching this, hopefully this is kind of past energy, right? But you can really see that here with this Native American woman and the baby, right? So normally when it's right side up, you see the Native American woman here and the baby here, and the moon in the background, and you've got this wheel here that kind of looks like the moon phases, okay? So it's like illusions are in the background, right? But this is feeling a lack of support, a lack of abundance, a lack of nurturing energy here, or just stagnant energy, slowing down of energy. But it doesn't last long. We'll get into your second card here, Taurus, in just a moment. But before we go forward, this is actually where my spirit guides wanted me to talk to you about what's on the top and the bottom of your deck here, okay? In relation to your first card we were just talking about, all right? The Queen of Sacred Circles in the reverse position. So when we talk about what's on the top and the bottom of each deck here, right? This is the deck we're using for the main six in the center. This is, again, past energy. So you have the Wheel of Fortune in the right side up position and the Nine of Swords in the reverse position, okay? So in the recent past here, Taurus, you could have had a lot of luck on your side, or the person you were dealing with felt like it was a good time for them to manifest something, or the general environment situation here. Okay, so really nice energy in the recent past. And then when you see the Nine of Swords in the reverse position, that's how you want to see it, right? So it's letting go of anxiety, worry, overthinking, too much up in your head, right? And so that's how you want to see this card. So it's interesting when you put them together. It's like, why, if you had the Wheel of Fortune in the recent past and you're cleansing your mental, right, your head, you're letting go of anxiety, worry, overthinking, then why would you have the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse position? And it could just be that maybe you were feeling a lack of support or lack of abundance, but it wasn't necessarily because it wasn't there, but you were just not feeling it or having a hard time connecting to your support system, whatever that may be, okay? But again, it could just be a little bit of stagnant energy and not feeling all the way abundant, okay? But like I said, it doesn't last very long, because then your second card here is the wonderful Three of Staves in the right side up position here. All right, so this talks about coming out, right? Stepping out, getting back into circulation about something, having your emotions more balanced with the Nile River in the background here. And then you see this couple, hopefully you can see it with the lighting, there we go. And then you see this couple here, Taurus, this Egyptian couple coming out, and they're ready to go to a party. They have a gift that they're going to give to the host, right? But this woman is looking up, and he's looking in the other direction. It's kind of similar to like a people watching vibe. So it's like it's not an action go, go, go card, but it's a slowly coming out and observing things, okay? And that definitely makes sense, right? Following the Queen of Sacred Circles, maybe not feeling your support system, not feeling abundant, a little bit of stagnant energy. And then here you're coming out of that. You're getting more balance with your emotions, or they are, or the general environment situation, okay? But it's like slowly getting back into that energy. Again, not an action card, but not a bad card either, right? So we're moving forward here. And that could have been, in the middle of last week or so. Just turn that down a little bit. All right, so now when we get into your third card here, Taurus, this is the Tower in the reverse position, and this is your repeating card. You only have one repeating card, but anytime that happens, it is a particular message from Spirit to pay even more attention here, okay? Because normally, right, we have 72 cards in each deck, and I shuffle and I cut the cards, so we have two different decks here. So it came out again in a different position, okay, in a different placement. We'll talk about that later. But it's really, again, a message from Spirit because it's coming out twice. So when we talk about the Tower in the reverse position, okay, from last week or so, or the recent past, right, whatever that means for you, this is a resistance to change. This is a resistance to enlightenment. What is enlightenment? It is the aha moment. Oh, I understand. Revelations, spiritual downloads, right? But it's in reverse. Okay, so there could have been something in the recent past that was sparking some type of change or enlightenment, and either you were denying it, or the person you were denying it, or the people, or the general environment situation here. Okay, so we're going to talk about why right now. Okay, we're going to talk about what's on the top and the bottom of your other deck here, Taurus. Okay. So here we have the Judgment card in the reverse position is again past energy, and then you have the Tower here again. That's your repeating card, right? In the right side up position. So in the recent past here, Taurus, this means that you could have had some type of judgment or some type of, I'm trying to think of another word, justification, or not justification. Something feels, it feels more like, you know, you could have, okay, it's going to be different for everybody, right? Since it is a general reading, but perhaps you were thinking about starting to rebirth something, restart something, recirculate something, and then you decided, you know what, I don't want to do that. Or they did, or the general environment situation, okay? But then the Tower came in, and that's how I see the Tower, even though it's scary, right? Anytime we have change, whether it's small changes or big changes, it can be scary. But you do want the enlightenment. You do want the lightning, the lightning hitting your crown chakra, right, the top of your head. The spiritual downloads, the revelations. Oh, I finally understand something because of this judgment that was possibly not received well for some of you guys, right? If you felt like something wasn't justified, or you felt like you didn't want to restart something or go back to something, okay, but then the change comes in here. And again, it could be some type of small change, big change, but it's enlightenment, okay? But you are resisting it in the current state of energy that we're talking about here. And I just want to show you for a second, if both of these cards were right side up, just see how the different artists depict kind of the same energy. So this is pretty similar, right? You both have a Tower, you both have lightning, okay? This one shows that the emotions are all over the place, right? In the recent past because of this change, okay? The water and the Tarot represents emotions, okay? But it's not all bad, like I say, because you do have some really good cards here, Taurus. Thank God, right? Okay. So your fourth card is the wonderful Prince of Sacred Circles in the right side up position. So this talks about communication, right? So if you had been resisting change, or someone you were dealing with, or the general environment was resisting change, so how do you deal with that? How do you start to be more open to this change, whether it's big or small? You have some type of conversation. You have a sit down. You have this Native American man with his peace pipe, and there's smoke all in the background here, right? But this card is also about forward momentum and abundance and being open to learning new things, because he is a man of a certain age, right? You can see that, but he's not an old man. He's not a king yet. So he's still open to leveling up in some way. So you could be in that energy more in this week that we're in now, right? And then it seems like you start going forward here, Taurus, and then there's a little bit of back and forth energy. And what I mean by that is you might be taking 2 steps forward, and then you have to take that step back, right? Because your fifth card here is the Emperor in the reverse position. And I'm going to turn that down. Okay. Also, before we get into this, let me go ahead and call out the zodiac signs that I see here in your reading in regards to the major arcana, okay? So remember I said you have 6 major arcanas, lots of change going on here. Makes sense, right? With the full moon in your sign and the lunar eclipse, okay? Give yourself a break here, Taurus, right? I mean, everybody, but especially you. Or where Taurus is in your chart, it depends, okay? We all receive the energy differently. But we were talking about the zodiac signs. So you have 2 Tower cards. That's a Scorpio energy. Could be dealing with a Scorpio. They could be a Scorpio. You could have a lot of Scorpio in your chart, or they do, or it means nothing at all. We also have 2 Aquarius cards, okay? And then we have the Aries card, the Emperor in reverse, that we're about to talk about in just a second. But also to go back to one of your other cards, the Wheel of Fortune. That's also Taurus energy. The Wheel of Fortune in the recent past. That's your energy here. Okay, Taurus. It's also Leo energy, right, with the sun. And it also has Scorpio and Aquarius. So you actually have 3 Scorpio cards, 2 Aquarius cards, Taurus, Leo, and Aries. So again, you could be dealing with some of those signs, or you have a lot of that in your chart, or they do, or it means nothing at all. But I wanted to mention it. Back to your fifth card here, Taurus, the Emperor and the reverse position. So that's a little bit of the back and forth, 2 steps forward, 1 step back energy. So you go from the Prince of Sacred Circles in the right side up position, right? You're wanting to level up, you're open, you're communicating, you have abundance, you're forward momentum, and then bam, a little bit of a blockage here. But it's not the end of the world. So when the Emperor is in the reverse position, it could be here, Taurus, that you're having a hard time seeing something from the higher perspective, from a larger angle, or they are the general environment situation, right? Because normally when it's right side up, you see that he has some kind of bird here. It looks like a crow on the top of his staff or whatever it's called, okay? But it's also talking about balancing between masculine and feminine energy with these 2 rams here at the bottom of his throne, right? So it could also be that there's a little bit of this blockage, not seeing something from a higher perspective or a larger angle, also because maybe someone isn't balanced with their masculine and feminine energy, with the giving and receiving energy, regardless of your gender, right? Okay. Moving forward, though, your 6th card in the main 6 here in the center, Taurus, is another prince, and it is in the right side up position. Yay, okay. Here is your Prince of Cups in the right side up position. So here he comes galloping on his horse. It's forward momentum, right? He almost even looks like he's going to a party. The horse is even dressed up. They're fancy, right? It's a fancy looking guy. Okay, but the cups in the tarot represents emotion. So emotional fulfillment, emotional contentment, what makes you happy, what fills your cup up, right? But also this is a communication card. So it could be that at the end of this weekend or even next week, right, you receive some type of medium-sized communication, or you give a medium-sized communication to someone else, or from the general universe environment, your spirits and your guides come in with some type of communication about possibly leveling up in some way. Leveling up at work, leveling up in a relationship, right? A love relationship, or leveling up at a deeper commitment with friends or family. It really just depends on what you're currently trying to manifest here in your life. But this is a beautiful energy to end as your last card here in the main 6. All right, Taurus. So before we finish your reading, let's go forward because we have a few more cards here and talk about your tarot confirmation cards, okay? So I'll call them out and then we'll go in order here. You have the Star in the right side up position. Again, that Aquarius energy. You have 2 of Pentacles in the reverse position, and then you have 3 of Cups in the right side up position here. So let's get into it. In the recent past here, Taurus, all right, Aquarius energy with the Star, you could have had a feeling of a lot of inspiration, creative energy, right? You could have been feeling like you were starting to learn. It's not, okay, so the Star card is not the Temperance card yet. So both of her feet are still on the ground. So she's still not all the way balanced as far as the 3D physical world and then the 5D spiritual world. But she has a hand on her heart, right? And her other hand is open to the sky. She is ready to receive, okay? And it's really beautiful, peaceful energy. Her emotions are balanced, right, with the little lake here, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I think it's a lake. But when this beautiful Aquarius Star-like inspired energy comes in here, and it's confirming the Queen of Sacred Circles in reverse and the Prince of Sacred Circles in the right side up position. This is saying here, Taurus, that in the recent past, you could have, again, felt a lack of nurturing energy, a lack of support from your support system, whatever it may be, friends, family, healthcare worker, etc. Also just some stagnant energy and having a hard time feeling abundant. What is abundance? It isn't just money, it's whatever you want to manifest in your life. So there was a little bit of a blockage in the recent past, even though in the far, far past, further back, right, there was a lot of inspiration. So maybe it just was like, okay, I'm not fucking feeling inspired. Excuse my French. I'm not feeling inspired. can't talk. Maybe something did expire. Maybe something was like done and you felt a hard time coming out of that done energy to then a new fresh start energy of where is my inspiration. I had it before, but I don't have it now kind of energy. Okay, but again, that's past. So then here we have the more present energy of the Prince of Sacred Circles, Prince of Pentacles right side up, of okay, I'm ready to have some type of communication. I'm ready to move forward. I'm ready to possibly level up. Okay. Now, your second tarot confirmation card is the Two of Pentacles in the reverse position. And it totally makes sense when it talks about which cards is confirming. But first, let's talk about what it means, okay? So when the Two of Pentacles is in reverse, it could be for some of you guys that you are having a hard time, again, grounding yourself. When I was talking about the Star card not being the Temperance card, right? You don't quite yet have, in the recent past, a handle on the 3D physical world and the 5D spiritual world yet. But you're wanting to learn. You're wanting to stop juggling and only having one foot down and one foot on the other foot, right? You want both feet down. And here, when you see this trickster energy that's there in the recent past, you're getting out of it because it came out in reverse for you. And that's kind of how you want to see it. You want to be more grounded. You want to feel like you're not always juggling your priorities and striving. Okay. So anyway, when this Two of Pentacles in the reverse position comes in here and it's confirming these two, it completely makes sense to me, right? Because it's basically saying in the recent past, last week maybe, right? For some of you, depending on when you see this reading, you're starting to recirculate. You're getting your emotions more controlled. You're doing some people watching. It's not a go, go, go energy because maybe in the recent past you did too much of that, right? So you weren't balanced. Maybe you weren't getting enough sleep, right? You weren't eating properly, whatever it was. So now you're coming out of that, but you want to do it in the right way, in a slow, balanced way. All right. But it seems like there's still a little bit of, I need to see something from a higher perspective. I'm having a harder time doing that. Not necessarily you, Taurus. Again, it could be the person or multiple people you're dealing with or general environment situation. But there also is an imbalance as far as in this current week that we're in, or even this upcoming weekend, of masculine and feminine energy of giving and receiving, right? So there could be a little bit of not an equal give and take with something, but you're really striving for balance here. You want to be balanced. You want to have that grounded energy. When you talk about Taurus energy, it is an earth sign, right? It's the bull. And so for you to not be grounded, right, is like really not really your style. Okay. I mean, of course, you're going to have times where you don't feel grounded. Everybody does. But when you're normally in your zone, as we might say, right, or you're really feeling yourself or feeling like yourself, but then perhaps because this is a little bit of that eclipse energy, the full moon in your sign, okay, so maybe it's really about releasing old things that no longer resonate for you, and you're trying to find your new grounding experience, your new Earth Taurus energy, okay? That's really what I'm feeling here for you. Okay, now going forward, I'm gonna take a sip of water real quick. Talking about grounding, yes, drinking water is good. Your third confirmation card is the Three of Cups in the right side up position. And this is more present, okay, energy. The other two confirmation cards were more past energy. All right, so look at this beautiful three women cheersing their cups together under the full moon. So this is about celebration. This is about feeling a lot of support around you and a really nice, peaceful energy here. For some of you, it could talk about third-party situations, but I really don't feel it in a negative way. It could just be addressing a little bit of that. What is a third-party situation? It could be the person that you're dealing with is dealing with another person, But it could also be a third party situation where they're not dealing with another person. If we're talking about romantic situations, it could be they're a workaholic or their family member is whispering something negative in their ear, something like that. But this is not for everybody. Just wanted to mention that for some people, it could be like that. It could be a work dynamic where, let's say, you have two bosses or the boss of your boss or whatever. It's some type of triangle, three people, three energy that could be there for you, for some of you guys. But for the majority, I do really feel that it is the celebratory, supportive, beautiful energy here. Okay. So when this card comes in and it's confirming the Tower in reverse, right? That resistance to change, but also it's confirming the Prince of Cups in the right side up position. Okay. So, maybe last week, okay, what is last week or what is the past? It could be weeks, months, years ago, right? I always like to remind people of that. But there was a resistance to change, a small change, a big change, a revelation, a spiritual download. I finally understand something. Maybe you didn't want to understand something, or it wasn't the right time here, Taurus, to understand something in the past because you lacked that support and you wanted to celebrate something perhaps and you didn't feel like it was the right time. But here you go. Now it is, right? Coming towards this weekend or maybe even next week. And so you have this abundant energy of the Prince of Cups moving forward momentum, having your cups fulfilled, what makes me happy, what makes me emotionally content. So you have two beautiful cups cards here in the right side up position. So, hopefully that, you get something from this reading and that resonates for you. But like I said, Taurus, I would just totally hang on, right? You've got the full moon in your sign on a lunar eclipse, but also you have these six major arcanas in your reading. That's lots of change. All right. So I would just try to ground yourself as much as possible and reach out to your friends and family or whatever your support system may be. All right. So that's what I have for you in regards to the tarot. But got some really nice oracle cards here that resonate as well. So your first oracle message is the Phoenix, and it talks about resurrection and surrender to change. Like literally, you cannot make this up. Okay, Taurus, when we talk about that tower, both of the towers that you had, one right side up in the past and the future kind of current energies of resisting it. So this is telling you surrender. Make yourself anew. Rise from the ashes. Be the phoenix here, Taurus. All right, you can do it. We believe you can do it. All right. So, what else do we have? Your second oracle message in regards to love, whether you're watching for romantic reasons or platonic love with friends or family, or even self love, or all of them, right? Your love oracle message is keep an open mind. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. All right. So definitely, you can resonate this with pretty straightforward for romantic reasons, and with friends or family, keep an open mind. Maybe you have some type of expectation with friends or family, but if you're more open with it and pull that Aquarius energy through that, then maybe you can have a different experience and have more celebratory, easy flowing energy. Because when you look at this card, you see these two girls talking to this guy, and there's angels floating around, but it's kind of like, okay, what are you talking about? All right, I'm going to give you a chance. That's the kind of how I see that. And you can also apply this to self love, right? Like you expect to have, I said this in one of the other readings, I can't remember which sign. Your self love routine may be different from someone else's, or your self love language may be different from someone else's, but always don't expect it to always be the same, right? Keep that open mind here, okay? All right, now going forward to your last oracle message here, Taurus. So cute. This is your animal oracle message, and you got the goose. So cute because I live right by this lake and there's all this geese, right? But anyway, it says, take time to rest and recuperate rather than continuing your striving, okay? So when I see this energy, I don't feel it as much at the end of your reading. I feel it more in the beginning and the middle, right? So maybe last week or the week that we're in here. So, I would put it definitely with the Tower in reverse, but also the Emperor in reverse if we wanted to put cards with it, right? So, if you don't rest and take time to recuperate, like the goose is asking you to, then change is going to be harder to deal with. And also, if you don't get your rest and recuperate and maybe stop pushing as hard as you normally do, right? Then you can start seeing things from a larger perspective and balancing that giving and receiving energy. Okay. So the last thing I would say, I always kind of say this with the animal cards, is if you want to look up, the spiritual symbolism of the goose, you can look up how you can incorporate that like a power animal. I'm not saying that this is necessarily your power animal, but it may help you during this time or even in the future. So you can look up goose magic, right? Or just the general symbolism of the goose if you want to get more into it here. But yes, right on the bell. So, yes, that is your message here, Taurus. Thank you guys so much, as always, for your patience and for your support and your likes and your subscriptions. It really does help the channel. Not only when you like the video, letting me know, not only is it letting me know that you like the video, but it helps circulate it to other people. So it is a free way to support the channel. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, it is free. You just click on the bell icon on the bottom right, and it just notifies you when I put out new videos. But I also wanted to say, Taurus, before you go, that the next set of readings, I'm going the normal way through the zodiac. So I'll start with Aries and then you'll be second. So I know this reading was a little bit late, so it's just been a little busy with my other work. So anyway, thank you for your patience, Taurus, and I will see you guys later. Have a good evening or day or night. All right, bye.